doing with the pirates made me think about how pirates travel. You know, you only hear about the maps that the pirates have for their buried treasure, just like with Jeremy Jacob putting the treasure under the apple tree and drawing a map. Well, today I was thinking about the stars that guide the pirates and a lot of our ships that take off from their boat docks and go out. Maybe they're more like boats. And as they're floating around, if they were out at night, they would look for the stars to guide them. In our big ships, we have all kinds of technology that tells us what course we're on. But in this time, with the pirates, they used just what they could see, a clear sky and the stars above them. And one of the things I was thinking about is the constellation. There, above us, there are groupings of stars, and the groupings of stars are in forms. The ones that we're going to talk about today is the Big Dipper, and it's really called Ursa Major, and there's also an Ursa Minor, which is the Little Dipper. But today, the Ursa Major is what we're going to talk about. Now, I wanted to make a craft that you could make at home, and that's why this is all kind of set around things that you have that might be trash, such as this tube that came from the toilet paper roll. And so I made this into a more like a spyglass, and I put a piece of paper on the bottom of it. So in order to do that, I had to trace around the outside of the tube to make it about the right size. I'll tell you about when you cut it out, not to cut it too close because you need a place for the glue to go. Now inside of here, I put little holes on the paper, and when you hold it up to the light, you can see the grouping of stars that makes the Ursa Major, Big Dipper, and it has 7 holes punched into the center. And it looks like a ladle that you would dip soup out of your pot with. And it has 7 little holes that show where the North Star is. And I'll tell you about that in a moment. First I'm going to trace around the tube. And I'm using a magic marker. And that should be good enough. It should be a dark one though in color so you can see. We'll move him over here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw on here the dots. Now remember I told you, it's 7 dots. But what we're going to do is we're going to do 1 dot and the 2nd dot and the 3rd dot and the 4th dot. And it almost looks like they could be a square. So if you connected the dots, that's what that would be. But now we're going to put the handle on the Big Dipper, and we're going to put 1 dot, 2 dots, and 3 dots. And that handle that sticks up there, the last of the stars are the North Star, and that's what people and the pirates would go by. So let's try it again. We're going to make a circle by tracing around the outside. And like I said, this probably isn't a true circle because it's a little squished. So there's my circle. And then I'm going to take and put the dots on. I'll go with 1 right there. Oh, isn't that funny? We're dried now. I'll have to use the other end. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I think you can do that pretty simply. Now to make the handle, we're going to go 1, 2, 3. So there's a total of 7 dots. So I'm going to cut it out first. And this is what it looks like. The dots get close when they're up on the handle. I don't want to get too close to the circle because I need all of that paper just in case my tube doesn't fit exactly onto the paper I traced around. And that way my glue will stick to the tube because I'll have a good base. Now, like I was saying, you don't want to use a good piece of paper. Use something like we had Craft a Noon paper, something that you're going to throw away anyway. Now then, the next step is to make holes which we're going to on each one of these dots. Now that's where it gets a little complicated. You want to fold up the paper that you had cut out of and make a base so you don't hurt your fingers. Because if you push down with the push pin that I'm using, this is from my bulletin board, if you push down, you may push onto your finger and you don't want to do that. So you lay the circle down and you take and you push the push pin in and now raise it up so it goes all the way through. Okay, you're raising up your circle. Now we'll push again and we'll raise up, and now we'll push in again and we'll raise up. Remember, you're using the pad of paper underneath you so you don't hurt your fingers, so you don't hurt Mom's table. Might be a good idea if you did this on a tray. You never know. You might have an accident. Now I'm going up into the handle, pushing my pin through, and I'm going to go to the 6 star, and now the 7 star, which, what did I say? It's the North Star. And that's the star that you can find your way when you're out on the earth and the grass when you're looking around for things at night and which way to go. Or you can do this on a boat when you're going along with your crew of pirates, you know. So now you just take and you place that piece on top of there, on top of the glue, and you let it set for a few minutes. Now let's talk about what you could do here. You could draw things on the paper again and cut it out, and maybe make it skull and crossbones, like patterns that I have on my scarf. There's a skull and crossbone on here, and that's the pirate logo. My friend over here, Goldie, he's been watching the book being read, and he's also dressed up in his pirate gear. Move over a little. He has a scarf on too, like I do. So we're letting this dry. And then, when we put it up to the light, and you can use the light like I have in this room, or you can use the light from the windows outside. And you can see that those stars are the Dipper, Ursa Major, and the North Star is what the pirates used to follow that star when they were going across the ocean to find their way to the next island to bury their treasure. So, if you have time today and you want to make a little stargazer, because that's what I call this, because you're looking at a constellation inside of here. So it's not just a tube that you look through. It actually has part of our constellations from our night skies. I'm so glad that you could come today, because these are fun things to play and to entertain yourself with during the time that we're in our homes and can't go out to play with our friends. So maybe you can call other friends and talk to them, or go online and face-to-face with them. Those will be fun things for you to do, because we all miss our friends. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.